If you have a story about a law of attraction success, or about miracles, divine interventions, or happy glitches in the matrix, send it to me via email or on Instagram. The contact info is on the screen.
If you've ever had something like this happen to you, please DM me. I want to hear your story. A woman experienced something strange one day while driving. This is not the first time I've heard a story like this. Somebody's driving their car and they see an oncoming car about to cause a collision with their own. And in a flash, nothing happens, and they're driving down the road in shock. Listen to this woman's story, it's crazy.
Can someone please explain this to me? I cannot stop thinking about this. It's been days. A couple nights ago, I was on my way home from work. I had just picked up my daughter. It was 8:30 and it's winter, so it's dark. And we live in a very rural area, so I was driving down a whole lot of nothing to get to where we live, and I turned onto the main road that leads into our little town. And as I was driving, out of nowhere, I got hit with like a massive adrenaline rush, as if I'd been hit by something. And then I was 3 miles ahead from where I thought I was. In the same moment, my 2-year-old daughter from the back seat, unprompted, she'd been silent the whole trip, goes, "Mommy, crash!" Excuse me? What? So anyway, I think I either jumped universes or there was a glitch in the matrix, but if anybody has an explanation for me, I'd appreciate it because I'm totally freaked out by this.
This is a story time of my very own glitch in the matrix story time. So back in 2008, I used to work at this bank located in a small little shopping center. At the time, I didn't have my license, so I got very familiar with all of the shops around that bank. Being that once again, I didn't have my license when it came to lunchtime, I was very limited to my options. I either had Cracker Barrel on the left-hand side or Long John Silver's on the right. I worked there for about a year, so I became very familiar with the workers from Long John Silver's, even to the point where I became really good friends with like one of the girls that worked there. I mean, we even used to take the bus together all the time because she also didn't drive. About a year after working there, I decided that I no longer wanted to work there. I actually wanted to go back to school, so I kind of moved on. 5 years go down the road. At this point, I had my license. I happened to be driving in that area when I remembered the shopping center. Like everything was there, Long John Silver's, Cracker Barrel, but the bank where I worked at for a year was nowhere to be found. I of course Googled it to figure out like maybe they knocked it down, but there was no sign or any evidence that the bank was ever even there. I ended up walking into Long John Silver's to say hello to my old friend. When I went up to her to say hello, she didn't recognize me. She had no clue who I was. Being that she was older, I was kind of like, well, maybe she just doesn't remember me, and I kind of ignored it. About a year later, I am now working at the hospital in the trauma center. This is where all like the scary stories come from. I'm working at the hospital when my old manager named Sebastian comes in with his son. Apparently his son wasn't feeling well. He wanted to get him checked out. When he walked in, I double checked to make sure it was him. Being that I was checking in his son, I could see like his full name and last name. I knew it was him. He looked a little different, but again, I knew it was him. I said, "Hey, how you been? Like, it's been a long time." And once again, he looked at me like he had no clue who I was. So then I'm like, we worked at the bank together. Like, I'm like, my name's Tatiana. We worked there for about a year. He was like, "What bank?" I've never worked at a bank. He mentioned how he had worked for UPS for like the past 20 years. He had never worked for anyone else. Around the time that I met him, the reason why he was working at the bank was because he actually sued UPS because he ended up getting in a car accident while he was driving like the company car that was caused by the other person. Long story short, he sued UPS. He ended up walking away with like a ton of money, which made him obviously quit and start working at the bank. So I don't get what happened in our timelines where instead of him quitting UPS to work at the bank, in his timeline he stayed working at UPS and never worked at the bank, and he had no clue who I was. To this day, I still have no clue like what happened. I just remember that around the time when I worked at the bank, I was extremely unhappy, and then something just switched. Something happened that kicked me out of that reality or that realm and put me to the path where I am now, which I'm thankful for because I was super unhappy then. But it's just crazy to me that the bank that I worked at for a year and all of my coworkers and all the people I encountered like never happened.
I'm going to tell the story about the time my mother and my grandmother experienced a glitch in the matrix, and I simultaneously experienced a glitch in the matrix at the same exact time, 200 miles away. So this happened a few years ago. I was living in West Virginia at the time, and my mother would drive from West Virginia out to Maryland to go take care of her mother, my grandmother, who has Alzheimer's. And so she would do this, every week, drive out there, take care of her, yada, yada, yada. So this one weekend, she is out taking care of my grandma in Maryland. I am home in West Virginia. It is around October. It is near Halloween time, okay? So spooky season, right? And so this is how my mother described it. She was getting off of the highway and she wanted to make a left to go under the bridge. So the highway would continue and you would get off and you would go under the bridge below. And it's a notoriously very tricky intersection because instead of going around the median in the middle, you went before it. So you have to closely pay attention to what you're doing and how you're driving and other people around you because a lot of accidents happen there. So my mother and grandma start to take that exit off to go underneath the bridge to make that left. And she was on the phone. It was nighttime. And she went to make that left. And as soon as she entered to go underneath the overpass, she said that she ended up a mile in the other direction, headed north. So say she was turning to go west, she ended up a mile this way, headed north. Okay? She teleported. I know this sounds fucking crazy, and trust me, she was not going to tell me because she didn't think I believed in this kind of stuff or even knew what happened. And I was like, Mom, that is so bizarre. Like, she could not explain it. My grandma, God bless her soul, refuses to talk about it. So while she was teleporting in Maryland, I was at home with my dogs and I was in the bathroom and my two dogs were on the bed. Opal was laying on top of a pillow like this and Hazel was just sprawled out doing whatever. I'm in the bathroom washing my face and Hazel jumps off the bed and runs into the bathroom and is staring into the bedroom looking at the bed. And I'm like, what the hell just spooked you? Like, what is wrong? Stop acting weird. And so Opal didn't join her and she's just staring into the bedroom from the bathroom, looking at the bed and looking at Opal. And I go in there, I go into the bedroom and Opal is now underneath the pillow. So not even 40 seconds before she was on top of the pillow, Hazel runs into the bathroom and the pillow is suddenly resting directly on top of her. And I didn't think, I was obviously freaked the fuck out. I recorded it all on Snapchat because I was so fucking scared. And so when my mom told me the story of her teleporting, I matched up the times. That the time that she had teleported was the same exact time that the pillow had jumped on top of Opal. And Opal was in the same exact sleeping position. Right? What happened? What? And so my mom and I, we talk about it. My mom is visibly freaked out. Understandably. I am freaked out by what she told me. And then this thing happening to Opal and the pillow jumping on top of Opal. And so we're both trying to figure out what the fuck happened. My thinking is her father, who passed away, knew that there might have been some kind of accident that was going to happen underneath that exit bridge, and that he jumped them. He moved them. He moved the car. He moved everything in the car to a safer direction. And the days following this incident, a bunch of weird shit started happening to us. So I would be getting random phone calls, just from hotels, from a scam, whatever. It was still weird. But the really weird thing is, my mom's phone rang one day. We were in West Virginia. My mom's phone rang, and she picked it up. She didn't know who it was, and it was my dad on the other line. They're divorced. They've been divorced for 20 years. Okay. It's my dad, and my dad goes, Lisa? And my mom goes, Bill? My dad was in Long Island at his mother's house on one of those like wall phones, right? You pick it up recorded, whatever. He dialed an 800 number to call a bank in Long Island, and it rang my mother's phone number. Anyways, do with that information what you will. But I am still scared to death and spooked out. And I will post a video of the weird pillow incident with Opal because I recorded that shit. Anyways, I love hearing Glitch in the Matrix stories. This is a true, real life thing that happened. I'm sorry it's so long, but I hope you'd enjoyed. Bye-bye!
For more mind-bending Glitch in the Matrix stories, just tap the playlist right here on your screen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, so you never miss a video.